From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Animal Husbandry Bevan.
You switched it at the last moment.
I did, because I had a different nickname, but nope, that's where it's going now, because you can't keep your mind off the genitals of even animals. Even animals. Okay.
It just really feels like you're inviting me to tell
I'm not
more.
at all. No. I found out.
I've got so many fun facts.
I bet
I'm
you
ready
do.
To share.
Just moments ago, Tipsters, I found out how bull semen is collected, and I never wanted to know that. And I'm going to spend some time in quiet prayer, hoping that goes away. That wrinkle in my brain is filled with something else at some point, that is replaced, that I don't know how that happens. So, yeah. All righty.
Let me know if you ever want more.
Yeah. It's on my list. Wait, okay. It's at the bottom. But so a couple of shout outs. One to our amazing listener, Dr. Tony, who at some point I will convince him to come on to be interviewed. He is a forensic anthropologist, and he gave me a percentage. I had my very first extraction last week, a wisdom tooth, and it was really unpleasant. And the doctor kept saying, "You have extra roots." And I was like, I don't know what that means. And so this is the fun part. So Dr. Tony said in his sweet way, he's like, 1.5 to 3.5% of the population have extra roots. And typically they're Asian or Native American. And I'm like, well, I guess that's because I can pass for Asian or Native American, right? When you look at me, don't you see it?
Yeah, I've always questioned that.
You have questioned it? Yeah. Apparently 23andMe DNA is wrong because I had no Asian or Native American, but I say it's an alien thing. And sweet Dr. Tony said I'm a unicorn. So
unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
I like that better.
I think it's very sweet, but I think we know it's because I'm an alien. And I was explaining to Joshua that my sweet dentist said, a wisdom tooth extraction should take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to a half an hour on the long side. And it was an hour and 10 minutes. And he said, he kept pulling roots out and putting them on the little bib on my chest and saying, "You have very long, thin roots." And I'm like, well, at least part of me is long and thin. So even if it's my wisdom tooth roots.
Why, thank you.
Yeah, really. Are you flirting with me, doctor? So, yeah, thank you, Dr. Tony, for saying I'm a unicorn. And a shout out to CFL Dental Labs, the beautiful Cindy and the beautiful Biddy, who are apparently listen to the podcast. I got a necklace with a set of uppers from the lab, specially made for me. At first, I thought Cindy was maybe tired of me complaining about all my dental work, but I think she just is in like that kind of a giving kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. And it has my name on one side of the gum and then just the Tipsters on the other side. Joshua's seen it.
It's nice bling.
It is. It's very long. If I put it around my neck, at first I thought it was a belt, but I couldn't get it around my waist because you can't open it. And I tried to slip into it and I couldn't get it over half my body. So then I put it around my neck and then it goes down to my crotch. So I have a set of uppers right around my crotch. So that's fun.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think you should wear it to your next rap battle.
Totally. You know how I am.
Right.
Totally with the rap battles all the time. I mean, yeah, I do feel very Flava Flav.
Yeah.
In place of a clock, I got a set of uppers because, I'm very unique.
You are a unique unicorn.
Oh, I thought you were going to say unique alien.
No.
Totes alien. Totally fine. I don't mind being an alien. I've leaned into it now. I'm trying. Oh, I actually have to tell Joshua this story too. My neighbor down the street does IT for like NBC Sports, and he is going to come and help me do something. And he did something for me last year when I got. Oh, it was before I got the Mac. It was last summer and I still had the PC. And I have a picture of him like with his hand under his chin because he's like, he got so frustrated. He's like, I've never seen anything like this. So I took a picture because it made me laugh really hard. but he's out of town. And I said, hey, can you help me with just a couple little things? And he goes, that's not a problem. I set my Mac up the same way. I've done this. I can do this for you. And he said, and then the second sentence, he says, knowing she is cursed.
Right.
And I'm like, so he thinks I'm cursed. I think I'm an alien. And Dr. Tony calls me a unicorn. So
I'm going to lean toward Dr. Tony. I think he's
Okay,
got
all
I
right.
think he's got the best outlook.
I think that's sweet. But thanks, Marty, for saying I'm cursed. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, so Tipsters, this is the second time we have done this episode. Poor Joshua I just love when I get to repeat stuff, but he won't remember. He'll be like, I have no idea what's happening. What guy? I don't know.
Are we repeating one?
Yes, because I do not know what happened to the audio, but that one was so bad. Even Matt and his magical ways could not polish that turd.
Yeah.
So I was so frustrated and angry, but it gave me time to do a little more calling around.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I will explain that too. So this is a case that was covered twice on Unsolved Mysteries. They did an original episode and then they did a follow-up episode, an update episode. And it was covered by the podcast, The Trail Went Cold. Robin is the host of that, Robin Warder. And he loves Unsolved Mysteries, and he typically covers cases that were on the show. But he had covered this case, I think, 6 years ago. And it's 39 years old. It's from, May of 1982. And it's, it feels solvable. And I was blessed enough to get to talk to the sheriff and the detective from Clermont County, Ohio, which is where this happened, or where he is from. Actually, it probably didn't happen there, but that's, and it is solvable. They believe the persons of interest are still with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even though this will be all brand new to Joshua, he has heard it before, and I am interested because, boy, I really loved that other episode we did because it was great. But we're just going to recreate the magic, right?
We got this.
Sure. So
Don't worry, I
know,
forgot.
You're going to be like, I don't understand. Why do people kill each other? Is that what this is about? We talk about that here? Wait, somebody died?
Somebody died. Yeah, exactly.
What? He thinks I just invite him over once a week to talk into a microphone just to chat, right? And then
you randomly have
every
the story.
ends up with someone dying. Don't you find that odd?
I don't get it.
Yes. Maybe you shouldn't hang around me. Maybe I'm cursed. Yeah, every time I lead the conversation into someone dying. Yeah. What's wrong with me? Why can't I look at the glass as half full? Oh my God. Anyway, all right. So this is from May of 1982, and this is from Clermont County and a small town. Hamersville is where Perm Gilbert lived. Now, I'm going to call him Perm because his name is Permon, Permon, but we call him Perm. That was pretty much what everyone called him. There was, I think, a middle name, Kenneth. No, I know it's not weird. Yeah, Kenneth. I think there's some people that called him Ken for some reason, but most people called him Perm. That was sort of the name he went by. So he's 46 years old, and he is a full-time appliance repair person. And there's two different ways that it has been stated. For Sears and Roebuck, which that's how old this case is. There's no Roebuck, but yeah, there's no Sears really now. But Sears and Roebuck, he was a full-time employee, but also I guess it was contracted through General Electric for their appliances.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know exactly who his employer was, because I've heard it as he was an employee of General Electric and an employee of Sears and Roebuck. So let's just say he fixed General Electric appliances that were maybe sold through Sears and Roebuck.
Sure.
He did that Monday through Friday, full-time. That's his job. But because he was so good at what he did, if you needed a repairman, he had a side gig, and he would do the weekends making house calls, and he got to keep all that money. So, he was doing it as his side hustle, and he apparently was very successful and did, a great job, and people loved all the work he did and recommended him. So he was never short of work. So he gets up that Saturday morning and tells his wife, Joanne, he leaves about 8:30. And he says, I'll be back around 3 p.m.
Okay.
Now, his wife, Joanne, said, he had some concerns about leaving on that Saturday morning. She didn't know, she couldn't pin it down exactly what it was. Like, was he just tired and wanted to have a day off, or was there something bothering him? But she told authorities, he had some reservations about leaving that morning. So he had 4 service calls that day. And those of you in Ohio will know these things when I say them. Mount Orab, Georgetown, Aberdeen, and then one 21 miles southeast of Georgetown. We're not going to tell you that city, I guess. After he completed those 4 calls, which he got done a little earlier than he thought he would, he drove across the Ohio River on the Simon Kenton Bridge, which is one of my favorite things to hear ever, because that's the high school I graduated from, Simon Kenton. He was a pretty big deal there. I didn't know that, but he was a pretty big pioneer. And he crosses the Ohio River and goes into Kentucky and goes into the town of Maysville. There is a little convenience store called Clyde's Super Value, and in a strip mall, and it's right next to Carol Jean's Flowers. So his first stop is to go into Clyde's Super Value. There is a time-stamped receipt that said, I think it was 108 is when he checked out. That's the last time that he's sort of accounted for. Technically, there's one other sighting, which we'll get to. But so he talks to the woman who worked there. Her name was Ann Breeze. Ann Breeze is the store clerk that works at Clyde Super Value. She remembers him distinctly because he had come in there and buy lunch sometimes. And he was very, sociable and kind of flirty, and would say, "You going to have lunch with me today?" And she would say, I can't. I'm at work, that kind of cute thing. Stop it.
Get it done, Perm.
Oh my God. Okay. So Anne remembered him, and he was very distinct looking. I guess he was like 6'2", maybe, or 6'4". 6'4". He's very tall and, considered handsome. And I'm like, I don't understand, but okay. Not to say anything bad about someone, but it was like he was called a ladies' man. And, there's a difference between being social and an extrovert and flirty and being like a over the top kind of flirty. And I don't know where he fell, but he seems like he was a member of a lot of like social groups, like the Masons and, things like that. So he was obviously very kind of social. So Anne remembers him distinctly, of course, because he was there quite often. Next door is Carol Jean's Flowers. Now, the woman working that day is named Donna Phipps. Both of these women, by the way, are interviewed in the Unsolved Mysteries episodes. You can see them.
You actually see them. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Donna says that a little after 1, after he left right next door, the supermarket, he comes in and asks for a specific employee. And even though we have the name Ann Breeze and Donna Phipps, we never get the name of that employee. And I believe we'll find out why. So he asks for a specific employee. And Donna says, she doesn't come in till later. Can I help you with something? And he says, no, she knows exactly what I want.
Okay.
And then that's the last that Perm is seen by anyone.
Oh, boy.
Until the following day, when he is found 7 miles from his home, naked, shot, and in a ditch.
Oh, geez. All right.
So, on Saturday, he does not come home at the time that he told his wife he'd be home. She waits, and back, we're talking 82, there's no cell phones.
Right.
So she calls in the evening. She has an infant at home. They have 4 kids. She has an infant at home with her. She calls friends and says, hey, have you seen Perm? Is he with you? Again, very social people. They did a lot of things with other couples. So they were very social,
Okay.
Yeah. So they had a big social group. So she calls all of his friends and, is like, have you seen him? No one's seen him. So it's now later and later. She didn't want to leave the house with an infant driving around, trying to look for her
Yeah, of
husband because
course
she
not.
doesn't even know. It's
Like-
it's a big area we're talking about,
Yeah. Well, if his calls are 20 miles apart from each other, like, where the heck would you even start looking?
Right. And he gives you the towns. I'm going to go here and here and here. You don't know what order.
Yeah.
You didn't know that he crossed the bridge and went to Kentucky,
Yeah.
So I get why she didn't at the time.
Yeah.
Now you would think, why don't you get in the car and try and look for him? But I get it. 1982, it's not that easy, and you have a baby. And so it's 12 hours after he's gone missing. It's 3 a.m. that she calls the police.
Okay.
And they come over and take a report, and they put a missing persons report out. About 6 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, the following day, May 23rd,
okay.
a young man, 15-year-old man, is driving his parents' tractor home after doing some lawn work for other people as a side job, and he sees something in a ditch, and it's Perm.
Oh, no.
He's naked. He's been shot twice. Now, here's where things that were reported in the news need to be corrected. It said he was beaten and shot twice in the chest. Those things are incorrect.
Oh, okay.
He had a broken nose.
Okay.
Typically 1 punch.
All right.
And he was shot. Actually, Detective Michael Robinson, who I met in June of this year, stood up and showed me on his body where Perm was shot. So Perm was shot, as he called it, right on the side of the left nipple.
Okay.
From the side.
All right.
And it would be like as if you were turning to maybe run away, then shot in the middle of the back.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So the theory, or is the theory, 1 punch and then a shot as you're trying to run away, and then one more shot as you're continuing to run away? Is that
could be interpreted that way?
All right.
Not 2 shots to the chest.
Not point. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
not
it.
Point blank shots to the chest.
Got it.
1 to the side of the chest, and then turning. 1 to the back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'd always thought he was beaten. His family thought he was beaten. Having a broken nose is different than being beaten,
Sure.
Like poor Joshua has to look at my face today.
I don't know if you know this, but face wounds tend to look way worse than they actually are.
Yeah, poor Joshua is looking at me as if I am Frankenstein. I had a little trip and fall in my driveway, and I'm telling you, thank God I had the garage door opener. I would have knocked myself out.
On the garage door.
Hit my head into a metal garage door. I had the garage door open, and I wasn't wearing bad shoes. I was wearing terrific shoes that are, anyway, just caught the edge of the driveway, slid on my stomach through the garage. And what stopped me was a concrete block and some cement roofing tiles.
Jeez.
The roofing tiles went into my forehead and the concrete block went into my nose. My nose went into the concrete block. That was the part I thought I might have broken it, but it's just kind of swollen now. It feels like I'm kind of breathing underwater, but I think once the swelling goes down, I'll be fine. But yeah, Joshua's looking at me like, yeah, you look great. Don't I look kind of punk rock?
It is. It's very punk rock.
Yeah, I look kind of punk rock. So yeah, having a broken nose, which, 1 punch could do it.
Absolutely.
I literally thought, when I was smashed against the concrete block, my nose was kind of spread out, and I thought, oh, fuck, you broke your nose. But I didn't. So that feels very personal. His family had different theories and there are extenuating circumstances, which are super weird. I mean, really weird. This is a weird case, and yet it just feels like it is absolutely solvable. And we can help with that. I honestly think we can really help with that. So when his body is found nude, he has no fibers in the bullet holes.
No fibers in the bullet holes.
Right.
So the bullets did not get caught on any fabric on the way in. So
Yes,
he was
sir.
not wearing a shirt
Right.
when he got shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was not wearing a shirt. I don't know that you would kill someone and then remove their pants, unless maybe their pants were
Sure.
already wore off. I'm taking a guess here. That is kind of an odd thing.
Okay.
No fibers in the bullet wounds, which makes, sense. Like, oh, he was unclothed to begin with.
Okay.
His family felt that he was dumped nude to embarrass them. I don't know that is, I don't think that was the original thought. I think the original thought is that he was naked and got shot.
Naked. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out on a limb, and it's not that far of a limb. So just a day or two later, his van, locked, everything inside, was found 22 miles from where he had disappeared. Now, I'm saying it that way because that's important. So we have his home in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
The last time he's seen in Maysville.
Okay.
Almost directly in the middle is where his van is found.
Okay. Okay. In the middle, locked up, nothing's taken from it.
Tools, appliances, all the things, if it were robbery,
valuable things
you could sell easily.
Yeah.
All of that found in the van, and it's locked.
Okay.
His body is found 7 miles from his home.
Wow. Okay.
I had not put that, I will just be honest with you, I had not put that together until I spoke with Detective Robinson. And he said, have you looked on a map of where the van was found? And I'm like, not really. So here's Maysville. I'm holding up my hands like anyone can see this except Joshua. Here's Maysville. Here's his home. Directly in the middle is the van. Right in the middle
is the van. Okay.
Which leads you to believe that maybe what happened in Maysville.
Oh, okay. So it happened in Maysville, and then whoever did it moved the van and dropped it off?
Right.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think that would be two people?
Well, it would have to be, or unless you're going to walk 11 miles or whatever.
Right.
Oh, no, you said 22. So he's 40 something miles right in the middle. So either somebody walked 22 miles or there were two people involved.
Right. If one is found naked and shot, potentially a jealous boyfriend or husband.
Okay.
Is my guess.
All right.
I think it's probably better than a guess, but
I mean, we've established how flirtatious Perm can be. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to talk 1982. So now
Perm was cleaning up in 82. All right.
He has a job where he goes into homes quite often. Perhaps the people who would know more about a broken appliance would be the female in the home.
Sure. And that's who's going to be home. Well, I mean, if he's doing appliance repair, he's in everyone's house.
Yeah, he's all over.
Everyone has a dishwasher and a refrigerator and a
stove. Yeah.
All of the all those GE things. He's in the pretty girl's house and the ugly girl's house, and
that's a beautiful way to look at it. Thank you. Yeah. I just couldn't. I was like, I don't know. I've never had anyone come to my home to fix anything where I was like, I'd like to break off a piece of that dick.
Oh, God.
Never, ever happened to me.
Well, I mean, if it's, but that's that like crime of opportunity kind of thing where if you're a housewife at home, not getting what you need in your home, but you don't really have the opportunity to go anywhere until
I guess
Perm shows up. All right,
with all the tools,
all of the tools, all the tricks of the trade, Perm,
all the 6'4" tools, or anyway.
Okay, so that's wow. So the theory is then Perm was fooling around and a husband came home a little soon.
Potentially.
Maybe punched him in the face.
Maybe.
Ran and grabbed his gun as Perm is running away.
Yep.
Bang,
that
bang.
Could happen.
And then, okay, now...
two people have to work in concert.
Okay, so you got to call your buddy and
No, call your wife.
Oh, okay.
You and your wife.
All right, there's two people
potentially.
There. Okay, fair enough. So she flipped around and oh wow.
Potentially, she is
Okay.
controlled
Okay.
by,
Yeah.
look what you did, look what you made me
You made me
do.
do.
You and I have to
Oh.
keep a secret.
Ooh, wow. That's heavy duty. Yeah,
It
okay.
is. It's an awful lot. And, these are just theories.
Sure. No, I mean, as you said that, yeah, it makes perfect sense because I've seen that relationship many times.
Yeah. 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 So let's go over the theories of what it could have been and what it probably was not. So nothing's missing from the van.
Yeah.
He has no clothes on. What's missing from him is his uniform, his Masonic belt buckle, and his wallet. There are fingerprints and hair samples not belonging to Perm that were found in the van, but they haven't matched anyone, which
Oh,
would
okay.
kind of rules out robbery. Most of the time, robbers are going to get caught, even if it's just, have a record of some sort.
Sure.
So, hair and fingerprints in the van belonging to someone, but maybe that someone has never been arrested.
Okay. And if it were a robbery, you would have taken something more
Right.
than just a wallet and a belt buckle.
Right.
You've got, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of tools, and tools
And
are easy to
appliances.
fleece.
In
Like,
1982, it's not like you have
yeah,
serial numbers. Who's going to look at the serial number on the back of your stove and refrigerator, come into your house and move, hundreds of pound
absolutely.
appliance and say, oh, no, it's not this one.
Right.
I mean, right.
Yeah.
So his family never wants to believe anything
Sure.
derogatory about,
Of course not, because
he has.
that means he's stepping out on
Right.
his wife and 4 kids, and yeah, that's
Absolutely.
of course they don't want that.
Nobody wants to believe that. In the meantime, his wife has passed away and his son passed away. He has, I think, 3 daughters that
Okay.
are still wanting to get, some sort of justice for their father, and they deserve that. They absolutely deserve that.
Yeah.
So they thought that it was a robbery because his Masonic belt buckle and his wallet were missing, and Masonic ring. I've looked those up and they're not worth that much. They thought the Masonic ring and the belt buckle would be worth a lot. Those were not worth that much on today's market. His wallet, he was never known to carry a lot of cash. So that being missing, that would be all with his clothes, a belt in his pants.
In his pants, right? Yeah.
Those things,
Yeah.
not
Especially if he had his pants off.
Right. All of that would be gathered up and burned or thrown away or whatever by someone who may, want to get rid of that. So here's some other extenuating circumstances. He was co-owner of a small plane.
Okay.
He loved flying. That was one of the joys of his life. And it wasn't like he kept the plane housed at a hangar at the small private airport there, Lunken Airport. He ran it in and out of his property on a runway on his farm.
Oh, okay. Just from his farm, and he keeps it there in a barn or hangar or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So he said to several people that he had been approached by drug runners who said, we know you have a small plane, and would you consider, picking up drugs for us? You can go park your plane. We'll put some money under the seat, and then you'll come back and the money will be there. Now, he said he told them no twice. I don't know how big the drug industry was in 1982 in Clermont County, Ohio, for an appliance repairman who owns a small plane and runs it out of his farm. I wonder how they found him, how they approached him, like on his own property,
Sure. I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, he's hanging out wherever he's hanging out, and he's just talking to people, and because we've established he's social,
friendly. Do you think that's how El Chapo got started?
Yeah,
like talking to guys.
Yeah, probably just
Clermont County, Ohio,
out in a bar. And
hey, you got a plane?
Hey, anyone got a plane?
I got some shit.
Plane?
Right? Yeah.
Well, how far can a crop duster go? Like, where are they taking drugs from and to?
Good point. I don't know.
I mean, Kentucky seems like right in the middle. It doesn't seem like like a border of anywhere where you would
Right. Well, this
get,
is Ohio, but
or
yeah.
excuse me,
I mean, it's a neighboring
right,
state, but
right.
still, yeah.
But we're talking about right in the middle, not okay. I mean,
These are just theories we're going
all
to
right,
go over.
okay,
I'm with you. I agree
all
with
right,
you. I don't think now, according to his wife Joanne, he had told her about this, and he said he had told them, "If you approach me again, I'm going to go to the authorities." And she thought maybe that there's in
she brought it up later as
yeah,
a
as a theory. Now here's something that was sort of poo-pooed by law enforcement. There would not be drug dealers in that area would not risk killing someone because their transporting is not big enough to be worth murdering someone.
sure.
Right.
Yeah, especially
There's going to be
if
somebody else with a plane.
right.
If one guy says no, you can move on to another guy. You don't kill him.
Yeah, even if he said no twice in a disrespectful way or whatever, you don't. Yeah, I don't.
It's not worth killing.
It feels kind of far fetched
That would be
unless he really was somehow involved and stole a bunch of money or a bunch of drugs or something like that. But
none of that was ever like borne out. Like it was. They didn't find a bunch of money or drugs hidden somewhere.
yeah.
It just feels like that wouldn't be a good enough excuse.
Yeah, just because we thought you might be able to help us and you said no twice.
So now we have to kill you.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. Sounds thin.
Right. So the next weird theory is that Perm was very, very close to his younger brother, Vernon. And Vernon had a couple of...
I'm sorry. Vernon and
Permon.
Okay.
So maybe their mom was under a lot of anesthesia when
right.
back then they would probably dope you up to have a baby.
Sure.
Maybe her lips were stuck together.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, Permon and Vernon. Can you understand why
Yeah.
they call him Perm?
Perm.
Probably Perm and Vern.
Perm
Yeah,
and
that doesn't
Vern.
make it any better, does it? Maybe they call him Perm and then Vernon is Vernon, the whole name.
Yeah.
He's 12 years younger. And I will just tell you, just to alleviate any thoughts of this in a moment when I continue this, they looked nothing alike. Perm is very tall, darker features. Vernon is small and almost like Scandinavian looking. He's small and thin and blonde, like kind of blondie and blue eyes. Perm had dark hair and dark brown eyes. Unless they told you they were brothers, you would be like, you're not related. So he had a drug habit and had some run-ins with the law. And he, to get out of doing a harsher sentence, was going to testify in a case against someone for organized crime. It's basically it's like that whole Al Capone thing where you get busted for tax evasion or whatever.
Okay.
It's not, to call it organized crime sounds very big, and it was not big, right?
Okay.
It was just so that he didn't have to do a longer sentence, right? So he testifies against this person in court, and he was so worried about it. Perm went with him and stood outside in the courtroom, and he said people were staring at him. Yeah, people stare probably at you in a courthouse. But the theory was that the organized crime drug people figured out Perm was related somehow to Vernon and then killed him.
It's retribution,
right? This is a message. If you're going to leave a message, you'd probably make sure the person you want to scare knows.
Yeah, very clear message.
Right.
Sure.
I don't think that message was received.
Yeah.
The other thing that was fascinating is that the theory was that they killed Perm so that Vernon would show up to the funeral and then they would kill Vernon there. That's a lot of work. And then Vernon didn't go to the funeral because of that.
Because he was scared of that. Okay.
So while he has...
Feels like there's better ways to find somebody, though.
Right.
I don't know.
While he has some, things in his world that are unusual, like most of us don't own a plane.
Sure.
Most of us don't have a very close relative who, testified in court against, someone that could be considered dangerous. It's, it just, when you find out the details, it just feels more personal.
Yeah.
It feels
I don't
personal.
know.
It doesn't feel, this is business. It does, I'm going to kill you to
Right.
show somebody. It doesn't feel like a robbery.
Yeah.
It feels personal.
Yeah. It does feel super personal.
I will tell you that his son, Permon Jr., died in 2000, and his wife, Joanne, passed away in 2012. Both of them died without knowing who killed their husband and father. And I will also tell you that by 2012, having spoken with authorities, Joanne, I think, was coming around more to the idea that it was potentially an affair that caused this. I think it's a very tough thing to admit.
Sure.
The three daughters, Joni, Gina, and Jennifer, of course, are still hoping to find out who did this to their father. And, there's all of these theories are something.
Yeah.
But I can tell you they believe that the people involved are still with us.
They, law enforcement
Yes.
has, okay.
There are persons of interest.
Okay.
They believe they are still with us.
Okay.
Probably still living in Kentucky.
Okay.
They are not young.
Sure. I mean, we're talking 40 years
Right.
later. So,
Right.
sure.
I feel like maybe the reason why the employee he was looking for at Carol Jean's Flowers, her name was never mentioned,
Oh.
is because perhaps that's who he was coming to visit.
Okay.
And I will just be honest with you, they have done an amazing job of keeping that name because I've looked a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I have asked and I have begged and I have pleaded.
Wow. Okay.
And I have called.
Oh.
Carol Jean's Flowers is still a business.
Okay.
It's a family-owned business. I called and left a message and said, I know it's a different owner, but it's still, a family-run business. Clyde Super Value is no longer there. That grocery store, supermarket is not there.
Okay.
But Carol Jean's still hangs in there.
Still there. Okay.
It's a very well-known florist in Maysville, Nick Clooney's sister and George Clooney's aunt, Rosemary Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
When she passed away, a lot of the flowers are from there. She's from that area.
Okay.
That's where Nick lives there now. That's where, George grew up. And
got it.
It's a very respected florist. I called and said, I know you didn't own this 39 years ago, but if you have any way of letting me know any sort of employee kind of, and I wouldn't have mentioned the person's name, but I'm just really nosy and wanting to find out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would never mess up an investigation.
The active investigation. Sure. Yeah. No, I know you wouldn't.
But I really wanted to know.
All right.
And I can't find it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And having the first recording of this episode messed up several weeks ago gave me more time. And I have employed lots of resources.
And still can't.
And I can't find it.
Okay.
People who can get employee records and state tax records. I'm not kidding.
Oh, you went all in.
I did.
All right.
And I still can't find it.
Okay.
So I bet there's people who know who that employee was, and hopefully they will keep that to themselves, but not without letting Detective Robinson know.
Just
as maybe a backup. And who knows? Maybe I am barking up the wrong tree.
Sure. Okay, but that's the theory that you like.
Maybe it's a different woman.
There might be
maybe it was a robbery. Maybe it was retaliation. None of that feels real solid
Yeah.
to me.
Sure.
It just feels like the most plausible explanation, which
Yeah.
may not be the right one. Feels like
Yeah.
he got caught and somebody didn't take it well
Right.
and went too far. And
Yeah. And I totally get why your family wouldn't like that
no,
idea,
of course not.
because but here's the thing. Even if you're fooling around, you don't deserve to get murdered.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
and the justice for the murder still needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it completely. No one would want to know that their spouse or parent, had outside dalliances.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. The bottom line is they didn't need to be murdered for it.
Right.
And justice does need to be done, even if it's delayed. Even if it's delayed.
Right.
I know that we know this case is solvable because there are at least 2 persons of interest who are still with us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to last forever. None of us
Yeah.
are. And if you know something, we would be really grateful if you would call Detective Michael Robinson of the Clermont County Sheriff's Office at 513-732-7545, because if they have their theories, if they know, they could still use information that you have, because I'm telling you, I was never more impressed, and I have talked to some really wonderful people in law enforcement who have impressed me. I didn't know what to expect when I walked into the Clermont County Sheriff's Office. It's a really nice facility. It's in a kind of a rural area. And I walked in and was so impressed and had a very long talk with Detective Robinson. And I'll tell you, he and the present Sheriff Leahy came in after this, but they have been there over 30 years working at this sheriff's station. And they started together, and Sheriff Leahy, got voted in, and he has definitely a vote of confidence from the community, and he should. He talks to people. I had mentioned this, that I called expecting to have to go through a labyrinth, and he answers his phone. Hello. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you threw me off. I was looking for Sheriff Leahy. This is him. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to leave a message. Oh, okay. Well, I'm here. I know, but I thought I'd have to talk to. Why should somebody have to jump through hoops? That's his entire.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's really cool.
And then, not knowing how much time I would even get, Detective Robinson spent a couple of hours with me laying out the case and explaining, again, standing up and showing me where on the body,
Sure.
Everything makes more sense when you can see it physically.
Oh, absolutely.
And while they have their prevailing theory, I know they could absolutely use some help. And I will tell you something that just warmed my heart. There was a task force back in 82 to try and solve this case. And after a while, not being able to solve it, that disbanded. But going through the boxes of evidence, Detective Robinson found a placard that says Gilbert homicide. Like those things you would slide on your door in your business office that have your name or something.
Yeah.
And he kept that out, and it's hanging on his door to remind him every day when he comes to work.
Wow.
That Perm's case is still unsolved.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
Just shows me who they are, what sort of men they are, what sort of investigators they are. And this case not only needs to be solved, it can be solved.
Yeah.
So asking again for your help, please consider calling Detective Michael Robinson at 513-732-7545. And know that you can always call us here at the Tip-Ster hotline, 832-Tip-Ster. That's 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on our social media pages, JT Tipsters on Instagram, the Just the Tipsters Facebook page, JT Tipsters Pod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.